The 2015 volleyball season was unexpected. Returning just two varsity players from the 2014 team, the consensus was that we would be a young team and would need to rebuild the season. Ralph Mortson said, "Don't lower your expectations to meet your performance. Raise your level of performance to meet your expectations." Our team was led by Captain Lizzie White, our setter. Her consistent work ethic in practice and level demeanor on the court during games instilled a sense of belief that energized us to work hard and raise our level of play. Lizzie's ability to set our hitters up for attacks was key in our success. She accumulated 117 assists this season. Coco, our other captain, led us in kills with 71. Her power hitting was essential in finishing points. Lizzie and Coco set the tone for us. The leadership of our seniors and the willingness of the underclassmen to follow their lead enabled this team to not just rebuild this season, but to compete this season. We finished our season with a record of 9-12. Although we accumulated the most wins in program history, that is not what comes to mind first when I think back on this team. Early in the season, we traveled to Newark for a match and then turned around and headed an hour south to compete in a full-day Saturday tournament. The bus ride through Newark and then down to Morristown, I realized that this team had potential to surpass expectations because of their love for one another. They genuinely enjoyed being together. That love and care for one another could be seen throughout the season. That does not mean that we did not have any disagreements or at times struggled with one another, but at the end of the day, we wanted to succeed together. We laughed together and at times cried together. The most important part was we did it together. Ladies of the 2015 volleyball program, thank you for being an example of a group of individuals who set aside your own personal desires to invest in one another. I will remember this team for so much more than just the wins.
The 2015 varsity girls soccer team is going to go down as one of the more dramatic seasons in our recent soccer history. When you lose 5 starting seniors, you don't really know what to expect going into the next year. I was told, though, to be excited about the future, as our incoming freshman class was a particularly strong class. And it didn't disappoint. But, as always, there are going to be growing pains when more than half of your starting lineup are underclassmen. That certainly was the case as we started our season out pretty slow with multiple losses to some of our most heated division rivals. And although we didn't have a lot of seniors this year, Sydney and Becca helped push and accelerate the growth of our younger players. I read recently that what you accomplish is determined more by your passion and endurance than by your innate talent. You see, it's easy to start well. In fact, more of us have it within us to do that. What we want, though, is to separate us by how we finish. Do we have what it takes to finish strong? For this reason, I would say this team is the most resilient team I've ever coached. If grit is the trait of finding success and perseverance after setbacks, we had tons of it. We saw great examples of this from so many people on the team. I've seen a lot of hard hits in soccer before, but I will never forget the sound made when the ball smacked Grace in the face during the Highland Park game. You know it's bad when the entire crowd lets out a simultaneous gasp. Truth be told, in the back of my mind, I wondered if my stopper would be the same after a hit like that. Grace has always been like the one player who was never afraid to go up in the air and take the header over anybody else on the team. After she made it back to the field, it wasn't long before she was once again being aggressive in the air and taking one for the team. This is the sort of resilience we saw all season long. Now, it would have been easy to simply pack it up after it became impossible for us to win the Gold Division title, but thankfully that wasn't the end of the story. We had too many juniors and seniors that weren't satisfied leaving that kind of legacy. Fast forward to one of the last games of the year. We're on our way to the beautiful campus of Gill St. Bernard. Kelsey and Sarah are on the bus singing the latest Meghan Trainor song without a care in the world, and I'm thinking, is this it? Today may be the last day of the season as we're playing a really good team that had beaten plenty of teams that had actually beaten us badly. To say we were coming in as underdogs would be an understatement. And here comes our beautiful team bus rolling onto the multi-million-dollar campus that is Gill St. Bernard. And on cue, that really obnoxious loud emergency alarm starts going off for like the 5th time. There's no point in stopping at this point, so we let the alarm be the announcement. Timothy Christian has arrived. Their crowd has already arrived. They have balloons in their hand. They're ready to release at the end to celebrate their victory over Timothy Christian to move to the next round. Just one problem. We didn't get the memo. We started the match, and Coach Amy and I quickly noticed that not only were our girls not intimidated, but we seemed simply to want it more than the other team did. We were playing our best soccer of the year. But any coach will tell you that often in soccer that doesn't matter if you don't score. This could be a case where a good effort just isn't good enough. And then it happens. A counterattack with quick passes from Sarah to Sydney to Sierra, a one-on-one with the goalie, and Sierra hits a perfect shot past the goalie to get us up 1-0. Gil gets the equalizer just minutes later. And the whole time Amy and I are thinking, if we can just get this game to overtime, anything can happen. I knew that we had practiced penalty kicks more than most teams, and that we had the best goalie in Rebecca in the entire league. I felt confident of our chances if we could make it to the shootout, and of course we did. Not one Timothy Christian player missed their shot, and Rebecca played it perfectly. We went on PKs, and no balloons were released that day. This game really showed what I already knew to be true. This team was different. They were different than they were when they started, and they were different than many other teams in the league. We had resilience, and we had grit. I will always look back at the 2015 girls soccer team as one of the hardest working teams I've ever coached. What a joy and privilege to get to see their character and class.
Soccer 2015 started with some great expectations. We returned 9 senior and 14 junior players from the previous team. The boys did not disappoint, as we went on to record a 13-4 regular season record. We took second place in the GMC Gold Division, losing only to the East Brunswick Tech team. Unfortunately, we lost 4 games in tournament play, so our final record was a 13-8. But a very successful season. The boys played hard. They had great testimony on the field, and I know the Lord was pleased with our play. We had 4 young men make all division: Matt Paris, Joe Caruso, Michael Adoro, and Josiah DeSantos. Next year's team returns 25 players. So again, we're going to look forward to what's going to happen in 2016. Our 2 leading scorers, Michael Adoro and Josiah DeSantos, return. We have quite a few underclassmen and many seniors. So it's going to be a great, great year. To my seniors, I want to thank you for 4 years at TCS. You were great leaders in how to play the game correctly. Your example of diligence and hard work were positive notes to your teammates. I will miss you, and I thank you for, again, all you did for me, but also for TCS. And more importantly, for your testimony on the field. It was just exemplary. And again, you just served as a great example to the people watching our game, but also to your teammates. And again, I want to thank you for just what you did for us at TCS. Thanks again, guys, and God's best to you. Bye.
The Timothy Christian cheerleaders are certainly a team to brag about. While I can't discuss wins or losses, considering the fact that we are not yet a competing squad, I can certainly discuss their accomplishments and hard work. With only 3 returners and over half of our squad being brand new freshmen, we had to work from the ground up. It was an exciting but daunting task. It was known among the girls that we may not be taken very seriously, being that this was a bit of a rebuilding year for TCS cheer. After getting through the excitement and chattiness of our first few practices, a switch went off in these girls and they began to surprise everyone, including myself. We set a goal together to continually improve throughout the season. After each game we cheered for, we discussed what went well and what we could do better, and I'm proud to say that I truly feel these girls got better and better with each game. Stiffness, smiles, and man voices. These are my cheer laws. After repeating these laws 100 times a practice, the girls finally caught on to the fact that these are some important rules to cheer by. With that said, the first half of this season's practices were dedicated to working on the following laws of cheer and learning the entire list of over 50 TCS sideline cheers with precision. It took some time, but once we accomplished that, we were able to focus on crowd and quarter cheers and then finally even move on to a musical halftime. They were even able to accomplish a stunt, which is something that these girls had never done before. At times it was nerve-wracking, at times it was even painful, but my squad never gave up. With that said, I have to give my entire squad an honorary Most Improved award. From beginning to end, they never stopped building on what they learned. I was extremely impressed with not only how hardworking and motivated these girls were, but also with how well they worked together. 9 high school girls clapping and stomping in a confined space could potentially lead to drama. However, I am so proud to say that these girls always got along and worked together to motivate and encourage one another throughout the entire season with love and patience. As cheerleaders, it is our job to cheer on and encourage our basketball teams. The girls took this job very seriously and were blessings to their rah-rahs on and off the sidelines. As I said earlier, we started our season off with only 3 returning cheerleaders from last year. At first, I was very nervous being a first-time coach of a high school varsity team. I'm an elementary school teacher who loves little kids, so I have to admit that the thought of having to work with 9 teenage girls for 3 months made me pretty nervous. After getting to know each other, I realized that these girls were nothing to be afraid of. They are some of the sweetest and most fun people that I know, and I have grown to love them all dearly, despite my initial fears. I am proud to be their coach, and I can't wait to come back next season and help build on the strong foundation that they set for themselves this year.
John Wooden once said, "Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do." I believe this quote emulates the 2015-2016 basketball season. 17 players, 4 student assistants, and 3 coaches made up a team that was characterized by consistent work effort and an unwavering competitive drive. While the wins did not come as easy or as often as we would have liked, one would not be able to tell by the intensity in which these young ladies came to practice each day. We were led by a group of seniors that for 4 years these players have done whatever was asked of them. Faith Allen, Elizabeth Kokosinski, Dillian Williams, Sydney St. John, and Sarah Sakian. Lizzie White joined this group of seniors along with student assistant Natalia Wildrick. They helped set the tone for our season. Their focus and fortitude drove the improvements that we were able to achieve this season. Caitlin Dyer and Sarah Solorzano brought an intensity to practice that made us all better. We knew that we had to keep the game scores low in order to give ourselves a chance to win. Their attention to ball pressure and boxing out was contagious. Kelsey Samuel, Grace Chang, and Brooke Weiland were the teammates that every team needs. They were willing to do whatever was asked of them. Whether it was starting JV games or coming off the bench and playing varsity minutes, they were ready to do whatever was asked. Often you could hear them encouraging their teammates from the bench with positive words or loud cheers. We had 6 new team members: Yolanda Kurtwood, a sophomore, and 5 freshmen: Sierra Thomas, Samantha Decker, Danielle Dyer, Riza Michelin, and Elizabeth Adoro. What a fantastic group. They came into practice not just seeing what the team could do for them, but how they could help the team. We were anchored by our student assistants, Natalia Wildrick, Hannah Ray, Angela Wildrick, and Lily Tipton. These ladies tracked stats, kept the book, videoed all the games, and helped keep me in line. When I think of these ladies, 1 Corinthians 12 through 27 comes to mind. We were a group of 24 individuals that came together as one group to play the game of basketball to the best of our ability. We finished with a record of 10-16, but the impact and memories that this group has made on me will stick with me for a lifetime. When a team is winning, it is easy to get along. When a team is losing, though, you have to work to stick together. This group stuck together regardless of whether we were winning or losing. This team cared for one another. Thank you for not just playing the game of basketball, but for being a model team and allowing me to be part of a team that cared not only about the wins and losses, but about each other.
Frustratingly close. is the statement that was used in coaches' meetings to describe the prospects for the 2015-2016 season. The statement proved prophetic. The team was frustratingly close to earning the wins they so deeply desired. The team lost 19 games this season, 11 of them in the final possessions or overtime. The boys additionally earned 2 of their 8 wins in overtime. 27 games on the schedule, and 19 of them went down to the final minutes. It's enough to force most teams full of teenagers to quit. The Timothy Christian boys basketball program is not most teams. It is a group of young men that are incredibly focused on earning whatever they get. The theme of this year's season was earned. Each day, for the past 2 seasons, the core group of players for our program grew a little stronger, ran a little faster, jumped a little higher, and thought a little quicker. The team focused on small achievements, a key method for continuing to move forward when things get tough. However, a significant goal for any student athlete is to win games. While there was daily evidence of improvement, it was imperative that the team realistically understand the concept of earning. It was repeated often, you'll only get what you earn, and if you haven't gotten what you want, it's because you haven't earned it yet. The team lived in the word yet, almost intuitively understanding that with persistent efforts, they would attain their goal eventually. A basketball season, or any athletic season, seems to be best described as a journey, the type of journey that a large sailboat from one of those old pirate movies would take to cross the ocean. The seas can be calm at times, the storms can be unbearably rough at times, the crew must embrace the daily routine of responsibilities, and the captain must chart a course and redirect if necessary. No matter how many journeys the crew and captain take together, no journey is ever the same, and the stories from each journey are always unique to that group. The journey of this year's team involved many stories. Some of those stories will never be told because there are simply too many in a season to share them all, or because people may get in a lot of trouble, a common theme when the crew is teenage boys. The stories include motivational messages of rock the boat, running into the locker room to break up a fight only to find a massive dance-off taking place, and the development of P.K. Nowitzki, Big Bob, Big Billy, and E. Buckets. Part of this year's journey involved the selfless commitment of our 2 seniors, Adrian Orenaz and Eric Sibilla. Adrian, while working extremely hard in every practice and jumping at any chance to play, took it upon himself to be the most vocal of encouragers, holding the standard for what we call our bench atmosphere. It is an incredibly selfless act for a senior that would much rather be playing. It is an act that does not get the attention it deserves. It is hard to quantify the value of such selflessness, but it is guaranteed that it was far more valuable to our team than anyone could guess. Eric Sibilla missed his junior season for microfracture knee surgery and returned for his senior season with little chance of playing time. No one will accuse Eric of being the great athlete. In fact, it is rumored that Eric was referred to in practice as the most unathletic basketball player in the county. This is only an unconfirmed rumor, though. It was a point that was used to shed light on how effective a player Eric had become by leveraging his very sharp mind to know where to be and when to be there in every set situation. Eric's efforts also developed an incredible sharp shooting skill, a skill that became so overwhelmingly effective in practice it forced the coaches to give him playing time. Eric proved the playing time worth it when he quickly drilled 3-point shots in both an overtime win during senior night and a GMC tournament game. A successful journey needs to have great leadership, and Coach Vaughn, Coach Decker, Coach McDougal, and Coach Ward provided the highest total level of influence that any boys basketball team at TCS has seen in recent memory. Each man brought their own passion for mentoring young men, deep knowledge of basketball, and love for the Timothy Christian basketball program that uniquely connected with the team. These men deserve nothing but respect for how they enhanced the experience for TCS's basketball players this season. A famous quote states that the greatest breakthroughs happen just after the greatest struggles. Much like the night is darkest just before the dawn, dawn is coming for this group of boys, and when it does, it'll shine light on a group of young men that have truly earned their accomplishments.
The 2016 varsity golf team saw the loss of their 2015 captain and low-average scorer, leaving a large hole to be filled in the top spot. However, the team had 4 returning players, all juniors with 2 years under their belts, as well as a first-year junior and a first-year senior. As the preseason got underway, we finally had a year with decent weather where we didn't have to fight the snow, the cold temperatures, and the high winds that we've had to deal with in the past several years. As we pushed late into the preseason, we had several individuals vying for the top spots in the starting lineup, but there was still a question as to who was going to take the new number 1 spot and be our anchor scorer. As our season schedule started to play out, it became even clearer that we needed someone to really step up and shoot low scores. That individual really became evident after the first 2 weeks of April. Despite this spot being filled, several other schools in our division also had some players step up, resulting in our season starting 0-2. We picked up our first win on our third match and thought we were still in a good position for the season overall. Unfortunately, we ran into some problems. These included tougher opponents, missing players, and some minor injuries which resulted in a 5-match losing streak that included a tough loss by the new tiebreak rules instituted this season. As a team, we had a lot of adjustments to make to finish out our season on a positive note. With 4 matches left, they managed to go 2-2, including an 8-stroke win over the previous team they lost to on that tiebreak. This finished their season at 3-9. And though it wasn't great, it was a positive outcome, particularly with what they'd overcome for the season. We came into our tournament into the GMC playoffs as the number 18 seed of 21 total teams, with our first match against an opponent that everyone expected us to lose to, and badly. The pre-match talk consisted of telling the team to just go out and play their own game. Don't worry about the end result. Focus on your scores and just do your best. To the division's surprise, and to all the players' surprises, our guys came in with a 2-stroke victory over the number 14 seed and a 4-stroke victory over the number 11 seed, which was the seed that everyone expected us to lose to. Everyone thought surely we were not going to beat them, and yet here our guys were, standing on top with a 4-stroke win. Though they lost in the second round to Old Bridge, they were able to end on a high note, setting the expectation for next year. That though we seemingly fell a little this year in our division, there was a glimpse of who will be next year. And that with 5 returning seniors next year, we can once again take a run at the top spot.
The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, words we have heard many a time on TV, in print, or in social media. Winners will feel ecstatic, satisfied, and confident. Likewise, the loser experiences their own wide array of emotions, from distraught, frustration, and feeling defeated. However, with our Timothy Christian Lady Tigers varsity softball team, I am completely overwhelmed by the ladies' commitment to persevere no matter the situation. Their behaviors coming back each day to tackle another tough opponent, another practice, or another obstacle, and building upon each day as a young team, not towards just winning, but showing godly and Christ-like character in any task they are faced with. The fact of the matter is that the wins and loss column don't measure these ladies, but the small wins and growing from a young team into a seasoned team that can handle any task. If you want to build a team with class, you must have respect and empathy for your own teammates. If you want to define what character is, it is doing these tasks when you don't feel like it, just plain don't want to, or being asked to go outside your comfort zone. No one ever said winning and would be easy. However, the winning is so much sweeter when done with these 2 traits of character and class. These ladies showed it over and over in a difficult season that came only to a quick end as they just started to play their best as a team. Facing opponents that earlier in the year had pushed them to a breaking point, but now on return matchups found a Lady Tigers team that was up to the task and challenge. I am reminded of a Bible verse from James 1:12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under the trials, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Our ladies are seeking wins on the field, but more importantly, these ladies are seeking a reward greater than wins and losses from a softball game. Our Timothy Christian ladies softball team of 2016 embody this quote from Edwin Cole. Winners are not those who fail, but those who never quit. Our Timothy Christian Ladies 2016 varsity softball team are these such winners that will show class and character every day.
The 2016 boys baseball season can be described in one word: together. Not only was that the anthem of our huddles, but the mentality of our coaching staff and players. From day one, we knew it was going to take every player and coach in the program to achieve our goals. With 3 seniors and 5 juniors, our team was equipped with returning players who would provide our team with much-needed experience to compete in a very good GMC Gold Division. As we strive to raise the bar together as a team, the Tigers have done more than just win games this season. Our record to date is 3-17-1. Although we have won more games this year than last, we understand as a team that our goals weren't only based on winning. Timothy has always had a proud tradition of winning athletics, and as a baseball program, we expect to contribute to that winning culture. Every game we competed in was an opportunity for this team to show that although we are young, we are here to represent the name on our chest using the talents God gave us as athletes and coaches. The dedication and determination that we as coaches saw in the players as they prepared for our season is what helped propel us to victory this year. On any given day, we would have as many as 6 coaches working hard with our players, preparing them to play like champions. With many ups and downs throughout the season, these young men were tested and tried by some of the best teams in our area. When we held to the attitudes of hard work and no excuses, we saw a level of competition that reflected the character and class we strive for here at Timothy. In explaining some of our ups and downs, the Tigers went to Perth Amboy Tech in late April and lost 12-0. However, just a few weeks later, Perth Amboy Tech came to TCS and found themselves a team that refused to give up. Going into the bottom of the 6th, we found ourselves down 5-0 and not much to show for offensively to that point. In the bottom of the 6th, the Tigers rallied to score 5 runs to tie the game and eventually force extra innings, where our anthem of together truly came out. Jonathan Matthew came up to bat and hit a game-winning double to right field that sent the fans and players home with a game to remember. Together, we achieved many things this year as a baseball program. As we look forward to the 2017 season, we will miss our outgoing seniors and wait with anticipation for our underclassmen and incoming freshmen to prepare to raise the bar on a new season. I'm extremely thankful to our TCS administration, families, players, and coaches for helping make the 2016 baseball season a memorable one. In the words of our fearless leader, Chris Hobbs, God bless and go Tigers.
Throughout the course of a season, a team can go through many transformations. Many new lessons were learned, new goals were made and met, and overall growth occurred this season for our team. Track is a sport that demands a lot and doesn't always provide immediate positive results. This season, we had a good mix of returning athletes who already knew this and those new members who figured it out quickly. We focused a lot on training and preparing at a high level and building up the strength to push through the pain. There are many moments in track when it would be so easy to just give in and give up. But I think this group has done an excellent job of fighting against that because of the goals they have set for themselves. We have many different types of athletes who come out for track each season, but at the end, they all get to go through the same journey. In a sport like track and field, what you put into it is what you get out of it. As coaches, we were able to see individuals change the way that they practiced in order to see different results in meets throughout the season. For track, the season isn't over yet. As we head to sectionals this weekend, all the tough practices and early morning workouts and long meets will become the foundation for these athletes to compete against the best in New Jersey. This season, many new personal records were set, school records were broken, but the best part is, it's not over yet. And I know I speak for all the coaches when I say we are so pleased with all you've achieved this season so far and look forward to what's to come in the next few weeks.